Right, hello guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. Now, if you haven't seen by the title already, this is a Vinted reselling video, which is a recent side hustle I have taken on in the past couple of months. And to be fair, it's going pretty well. Basically, most of you will know I've tried everything. Other than working a 9 to 5, which I currently still do, I've tried social media, I've tried doing Instagram, tried YouTube, tried doing every slash delivery drivers, tried everything but a 9 to 5 because I want to escape that, alright? I want to get onto something that I can make money, self-employed from home or whatever like that. I literally, I've tried it all, alright? But I finally, right, at the end of this year, Q4, have found something that works, and that is Vinted reselling. Now, I started mid-September, and I started off by selling a lot of like crap around the house. I ended up making about £1,000 with crap I already had. That was like some shoes, some clothes, an old laptop, a camera, like loads of gizmos and gadgets. And anyway, with that £1,000, I started researching, Googling stuff, and I went onto YouTube and I found a few like YouTubers and TikTokers that also do this. And I took it upon myself to basically follow their lead, and I've now gained so much experience. I've been doing it for pretty much 2.5 months. I started mid-September, it's now December, well, beginning of September, yeah, October, November, half September. So 2.5 months, and I have made up to £10,000, basically. That's revenue, by the way, not profit, revenue. And basically, behind me, I am currently in the outbuilding on my house. So some of you know I live in a house, my own house, with my partner and 2 babies. We've actually had another baby since you probably last saw this YouTube video. I can't remember the last time we did a video. It must have been something to do with the Mazda. Anyway, and as behind me, as you can see, is my stock, basically. So we have, down below, we have all the pre-loved trainers that I buy on Vinted. And up here we have like brand new stuff, which you get from like the outlets, the Nike outlets. And all of this stuff you basically sell for a profit on eBay, and all of the pre-loved stuff you sell on Vinted. Now you can sell brand new stuff on Vinted, but the problem is apparently you've got a risk of getting banned because they don't like it for commercial selling, whereas eBay doesn't really matter. I think, I'll be honest, on eBay, I'm pretty sure you have unlimited listings, or something like 500 a month. Like, realistically, no one's listing 500 shoes a month, unless you're doing like 50 a day or something ridiculous. Anyway, so yeah, this video is going to be all about Vinted reselling and my journey so far. So, yeah, started off inside, just selling a lot of random crap around the house, a lot of stuff I got from TikTok shop that I wasn't using, just a lot of random stuff, built a bit of money. And then I joined what is a Vinted monitor. So I've just done a TikTok on this, and you'll see it in the YouTube Shorts. Basically, what it is a bot where it pings through all of the newest Vinted items getting listed, but we get to see them about 15 to 20 seconds before people on Vinted would see it. So we get like first dibs of all the cheap stuff. Now, there's a lot of different monitors, loads of different people in it. I personally think I'm in the best one, which is Resell Locker, run by a guy named Stim. If you haven't heard of him, go check him out. His name's Stim. Just type in Stim Vinted Reselling. You'll come across him. He's a great guy. He knows a lot of stuff. He's been doing it, I think, for about a year himself, maybe just under a year. Can't remember. But yeah, I've learned a lot from him, and now I thought, you know what, I'm going to make my own videos on it because I want to teach you guys who wouldn't have never known about it. So yeah, start off indoors, making a bit of money, and then I joined this Resell Locker, and since then been making a decent amount. I've got a good pair of shoes here. I think we've got about 70 currently listed on Vinted, and quite a lot of shoes on eBay. The thing is with eBay, it takes a little bit longer to sell because there's a lot of stuff on eBay. Vinted's quite quick. Vinted has a better algorithm because you can scroll at the homepage of Vinted. It's like scrolling Instagram. But like I said, I make a lot on Vinted, and I've recently dabbled in an app called Whatnot. Now, Whatnot is a live streaming shopping app, so it's a bit like TikTok Shop, but for like brand new stuff. The problem is with Whatnot, when you do your first few streams, you don't really make a profit because you work on a really, really small margin. Like you might only make like 50p to £2 profit per item. Obviously, a lot of people on there have hundreds of items, so you have to do like, I don't know, 100 pairs of trainers to make a good amount of. Like, there was this guy I saw recently. He did 100 pair of trainers, and only made £500 profit. Now you might think that's quite good, mate, but that's only £5 profit per trainer. Like on Vinted and eBay, you're making 20, 30, £50 profit depending on the item. But obviously, it takes a lot longer to sell. Whatnot is one stream. You could do 100 items within 2 hours, and within 2 hours, you've made £500 profit. It's not bad. Obviously, you've then got to like wrap it up and do that other stuff. But yeah, and recently, I've been doing Whatnot. So on Black Friday, which was last week, Adidas were running this insane sale where whatever the lowest price of the item, so a lot of stuff, let's say £100 pair of Sambas or whatever, they had 30% off. So they were like £66 or something like that. If you'd spent £200, you got it for half price. So you ended up getting a pair of Sambas for like 33 quid, but you also saved a little bit more if you have an app called Cheddar. Again, not sponsored or anything, but this app Cheddar gives you like a discount back, like a cashback discount. You spend a certain amount, so I think it was like 10% or something. So you were literally getting like a brand new pair of Adidas for like 30 quid, which was worth 100. Now, a lot of people were listed on eBay for like 80, 78 quid, like below retail, making profit on them. But I went a bit ham and ended up buying like loads of pairs. I'll try and put a picture up of like half the stock I got because I went 2 days. I ended up doing the whole thing on Whatnot. It was one of my first streams. I didn't actually make a profit. I think I took like a very small loss. But it wasn't too bad because at the end of the day, it got rid of all these items that I splashed out on because it would have taken a while on eBay. And obviously, the thing is with reselling, you need to have you need to have a lot of money quickly to be able to build it up. Because obviously, the more money you have, the more you can buy. So anyway, I've recently dabbled in Whatnot. I ended up buying like a load of these MyProtein, brand new MyProtein with tags. And I tried out a stream this morning. It didn't really go to plan. I've got like 50 items all on the floor here. But I thought MyProtein would go, but it hasn't in a minute. So I'll probably take a small loss on that. But, you know, Whatnot is something I do want to get into, but I need to scale up. How you start is basically you join this Vinted monitor and it will ping through all of these shoes really quickly. I'll try and put a clip here of what it does. Because I saved the clip earlier. And basically what you do is you have a little buy now button. You just click buy now, bosh, and it instantly buys it. It comes out of your bank. It can come out of your Vinted balance. But the thing is, if it comes out of your Vinted balance is... well, you can't withdraw it. So you could leave it in your Vinted and keep buying your Vinted and scale up so you've got like thousands in and then take it out. I personally don't like the risk of that just in case something happens to my Vinted account and it gets blocked or banned or I can't log in or whatever and my money's in there. So I take it out into my bank straight away. And obviously, if any of you have a business, which you will need to have to do this, because obviously for tax purposes, anything you buy on Vinted is a business expense, realistically. So you're better off withdrawing your money to your business, buying it with the business, and then it's an expense. So you don't have to pay tax on it. So everyone wins. And you keep doing that and scale up. And yeah, I've done 10,000 revenue in 2.5 months, which isn't too bad. Like, I'm not going to be able to go full time or anything on it yet because it's a lot of like, you need to have a lot of money that you're buying with to make the profit to live off, you get what I'm saying? So if you need to live off £3,000 a month before tax, you've got to have like, I don't know, 1,500 every month. Let's say, because obviously you're doubling your money on most items. Obviously some items you're tripling, quadrupling, whatever, but most, like I always aim for at least double. So if I'm paying £10 for a shoe, I want at least 20. Obviously I try and aim higher depending on the shoe. But, you know, so every month you need £1,500 to be able to make 3,000 profit, but then obviously then you need the other 1,500. So you basically need, I would say, like, it depends on what you want to make, but you need to have a certain amount that you spend every month. Obviously the other risk you have is you need to be able to wait for it to sell. Like some items don't sell that quickly. Like I put up a pair of shoes the other day and they sold within like 20 minutes. It was insane. I think I bought them for like 18, sold for 40. So I doubled my money and a little bit more and I sold within a half an hour. So like in half an hour I made like £22 or something. You know, it's insane work. You know, imagine if you did that twice, you made £44 in an hour. So yeah, again, it's all about scaling up and profiting, but it's not the sort of business where you'd like, you know, make £100 every single day. It's one day you might make like £200 worth of sales. Some days you might make a tenner, but obviously it adds up over the week. And like the thing is as well, like Mondays and Tuesdays can be a bit quiet. Wednesdays, Thursdays, sort of medium. When you get to the weekends, like Saturdays, I always sell like 15 to 20 items on a Saturday. Like a lot of my stock goes. And on Vinted as well, you have a thing called a bump. So you can bump your items. You pay like a very small percentage. I think it's like not even 10%, I don't think. It's quite small. Like it's mainly about £1 to £2 an item. So if you've got an item for 50 quid, you bump it for 2, you take £2 loss, but at least it sells. And anyway, yeah, so basically every day I head over to the lockers or to the local garage or wherever to pick up the parcels, bring them all back, collect them here. I've got some live openings I'm going to show you. And then yeah, if they need a clean, give them a clean. If they don't, get them photographed. Obviously to take really good photographs, use a shoe tree. I mainly do shoes in a minute. Like, you can dabble in clothing and other stuff, but I mainly do shoes. Yeah, clean them up, take some really nice photos, and then list them. Now, I always list them later in the evenings at like between 7 and 9 PM because I feel like when I first started, I was listing sort of during the daytime, and it wasn't the best time to be uploading because not many people, I think many people are really scrolling Vinted to buy something new for themselves. No one's really scrolling at midday really in their lunch break, are they? Probably do something else. Whereas in the evenings, people are in bed or chilling after dinner, whatever, on a sofa and thinking, oh, I might buy something, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, payday's a big one. Like I always strongly suggest if you're going to start doing this, like if you can build and you want to post loads on a payday, if you post like 20 items, I promise you that weekend you'll sell most of them. Anyway, let's do some live buying. So I have a few parcels here that I collected today, and I'm going to show you what I got and show you roughly how much I spent and what I could probably sell it for. So the first item here is in full box. Now, whether it's pre-owned or brand new, having it in full box always makes it worth a bit of money. In here we have some lovely Nike running shoes. We have some lovely downshifter 12s, right, in very good condition. Look at that. You genuinely, that just needs a little bit of a scrub in a bit of fair liquid and water, but that shoe is very, very clean, right? The fact that's in full box, I think I paid between 15 and 20, probably looking to get about 40 for them, especially in the UK, the UK size 5. UK size 5.5, so maybe not 40, but definitely making a good amount of profit on them, especially the fact they're clean and the fact they're full box. Some of the items you get, by the way, are absolutely taped in wrapping tape. It's ridiculous. The other thing as well, like a lot of you might be wondering, like, oh, how much do you know how to sell them for? Like, I wouldn't know where to start, wouldn't know what to make. Like, There's 3 things you can do. One, if you join the Vinted monitor on Discord, the resale locker, link will be in the description by the way. If you join that, there's a price guide, tells you pretty much every pair of trainers you can think of, all the sorts of clothing, all the big brands like Nike, North Face, Patagonia, Rabbit. It will tell you all what to buy roughly and how much you're selling for roughly. Obviously that's a guide, so you don't have to listen to that, but that's what they tell you. When you're first starting out, you probably are going to listen to that. I did. But then as time went on, I worked out, oh, I can sell a pair of 95s for at least 50 quid, or I can sell a good big TN's Big Bubble with decent size for like 60. I kind of work it out. And then obviously then you can buy items for a little bit more, so you might start spending like £30 a shoe, but if you know you can sell it for 60, you're making £30, you know, do 4 of them a day, it's £120 a day. You know, that's how you got to think of it. Next up, we have a pair of Nike Trows. I think these are Trow 4s. These are a very nice trainer, by the way. Very nice. This condition, look at that. You genuinely wouldn't even know that's been worn. That is absolutely unreal condition. UK size 8.5 as well, so that's a very nice pair of shoes. Generally doesn't even need to clean, so I'll get them like shoe tree in, get them really professionally photographed. I make profit on every single pair of shoes, no matter what. Like the only time I've made a loss, 2 times I've made a loss. One, I had this like leftover stock that I kind of ballsed up on. I thought I bought like, when I first started, I was doing like a lot of Nike tech. I ended up buying a kid's size, not adults, and you can't return for buying the wrong size on Vinted because, you know, at the end of the day, it's your fault. I've done it before with Napajiri jackets. I bought like size 14 years, but it didn't say that. It just said like kids small or something. So you can get messed up a little bit, but yeah. Anyway, here we have some Nike Air Max 98s, triple white. Triple white is always a good seller. In a UK 8 as well. Again, very clean shoe. Probably just need a little bit of a scrub on the bottom. But again, you're looking at getting probably about 30 to 35 on these, potentially. Depending on how good your photos are and what time you list can be a huge factor on how much you get. But any pair of trainers you buy on there, if they're Nike, you are making money, I promise you. If you're buying them for a very cheap price, like obviously if you're splashing £35 on a pair of Air Max 97s, you probably barely make a fiver, if not any, on them. But like, you know, if you buy the right shoes that are like top shoes and in good condition, you can tell because on the monitor you'll see the picture of the shoe. Like you'll be able to quickly scan 3 pictures and go, okay, they look all right, buy now. Again, here we have a nice Nike pair of Air Max, UK size 7 as well, good size. A little bit muddy, as you can see, like on the outside and the bottom. Again, it takes 2 minutes to like. I will bring a video on how I clean trainers and the best way to do it. But again, like it's really simple. You literally get like, I've got this like brush, like harsh plastic brush, and you just get a bit of soap water and just scrub them. It literally takes 5 minutes to do a pair of shoes. You know, if you're doing 10 pairs of shoes today, you're spending less than an hour cleaning them. But 10 pairs of shoes every day, let's say you make, I don't know, even just £10 profit per shoe, you're making £100 a day. But some of the shoes you might get like one pair, I'll put on the screen now. I think I paid £4 for them, or £7 including delivery, and I sold them for like £45. Like, I made £38 on a pair of shoes, or one pair of shoes. So it's insane. Like, imagine if you could make £38 a pair of shoes and you're doing 10 a day. That's £380 a day. Honestly, the good thing about this as well, it's like endless. Like, I know some of you watch this might think like, oh, but the thing is, if you're telling this information and everyone starts reselling, it won't be enough for us. But think about the population of the UK. Like, there's literally 65 million of us, right? Every single day, hundreds of photos are getting listed, 100 items are getting listed. Literally, I think the other day I worked out it was like 6,000 items had been listed just in Nike trainers in a couple of hours, I think it was. It was literally insane. But yeah, it's literally endless. It's literally endless. Again, I'm not too sure the exact model, but these are some Nike running trainers in a size 8, triple black. I think I literally paid about £8 for these. So what I'll do, here's what I'll do, right, if I don't know the trainer. Because obviously when you're on the monitor, you are picking up just any shoes I see, Nike running, and I think £5, I'm buying. If you pick up a pair of shoes for a £5, yeah, and you got to remember as well, like sometimes you can get fakes, but you just check the label, and as there. You just type in the SKU code right on eBay and type in sold listings, and literally it will just come up with like a load of sold listings. You put in like sold, completed, and pre-owned, obviously pre-loved, and it will tell you the price, and then you just go off the price. So if there's loads listed for like 25, and you paid a £5 or £8, let's say, with delivery, you know you're making a good £18 profit or £17 profit or whatever out of a pair of trainers. So yeah, again, them ones very clean. I don't even think they've been used, if I'm honest. There's no signs of wear whatsoever on these. Again, don't know how much. Like I said, I don't know how much exactly they'll go for. But to be honest, the other thing as well that I say, another piece of advice, if you do end up, because obviously I got to the point where at the minute I've scaled down a little bit because I have been spending a lot in the Nike outlets and Adidas outlets. So a lot of my money in business is in a lot of stock. Like as you can see here, it doesn't look like a lot. These racks go right down, and I've got a lot of shoes at the top there. And obviously with Vinted, Whatnot, and eBay, all three are like my main incomes. A lot of the money sits in them until they're delivered. So I think I've got like probably about 2,500 just sat in the accounts with stuff that's already sold, plus probably a good £3,000 profit here, and then obviously some trainers that I've got. But if you're doing 10 a day, like not every single pair are going to be exactly what you know and exactly how much you sell for, because you're picking up 10 a day. Unless you're spending absolute hours on the monitor and really looking for specific shoes. Like, really good sellers for me are Nike TNs, 97s, 98s, P6000s. They're rare to pick up at a decent price, because the thing is with P6000s, they've become like really niche. Like, I really love them. I got the pair of these white with green, and they're like super rare, and I absolutely love them. But they're becoming so popular that everyone sells them, so they're not as good. But yeah, like, I've got loads of trainers on here. Like, I've got anything from like Borough Lows to Nike Reacts. Like look at these. Like, they're such good condition after you clean them, man. Like, you're just making serious money. And like, the thing is as well, we're living in a financial crisis. Can't remember the exact term, but like, you know, people don't want to go out and splash £160 on a brand new pair of shoes. They can literally go on Vinted and buy for 30, which basically are brand new. Some trainers you get are literally worn like once or twice. You're paying a fraction of the price. Yeah, like, here's an example of the Nike outlet, right? So P6000s I was just talking about. So these are like 110 retail shoe, right? And these are brand new, right? Brand new in the box. Like, you go to a Nike outlet, okay? And, you know, you're spending, so these were £64.99, right? £65, okay? You get them half price, right? Because there's 50% off on the back wall. £32 for a pair of P6000s, brand new on eBay. Do you know what I mean? You're getting like 60 quid for them. You're making like double your money. It's an insane side hustle. And it's just endless amounts. Like, however much you put in, you get out. Like, I can guarantee you, like, I don't genuinely know anyone that does this, but I can imagine there's people out there that probably buy like 50 to 100 pairs of shoes. Like, imagine your listing. Yeah, it's a lot of work, right, to clean them all, photograph them all, store them all. But if you're doing like 50 pairs of shoes a day and you're making minimum £10 a pair of shoes, you could be making £500 a day, providing they sell. Like, you could literally make thousands of pounds doing this. Like, doing like 50 pairs of shoes on Vinted is probably a big extreme. Like, I probably would stick to like a maximum. Like, I was doing 10 a day at one point, and that's how I scaled up really quickly when I had 10 a day. But I got to the point where, like, and sometimes you'll find this, you know, you're listing 70 pairs a week, you might only sell 20 pairs that week, so you've got like 50 shoes stocked up, and obviously your money is held in these shoes, so you might not have the money to go and buy more. Or the opposite case, you might not have enough room. So obviously I've got 2 racks here and here, and they go right down to the floor. And my plan for this room, like, as you can see, it's not finished. I do have a back door now on here. So last time you remember from this video, I might have had a gate. My plan is to get, so this washing machine's here, and this mini fridge is staying. But obviously that'll push back into that corner because there's currently like a shelf there. But my plan's to get another one of these on top of there, another one of these on top of there. So I'll have like a big rack going right up to the top of the ceiling. And then I'm going to have like a desk here. I'm not going to show you the whole room because it's an absolute mess in here in a minute. But yeah, the plan is to have like a stock. But at the minute I'm holding about, I can hold about 100 items a time, right? So as long as I'm doing, if I'm buying 70 items a week, as long as at least half of them are selling, you know what I mean? Like most items will sell within the week. Some sell really quickly, some sell within the hour, some take a day, some take a week. Everything eventually sells. It's with any business. You might get a day where you don't make any sales. Like, I've had a day before where I've sat there and not had a single like sniff, which I like to call notification. So people favourite it, and then what you can do is like, oh, here's another tip actually for you quickly before I end this video. A good tip as well with like favourited items. If someone favourites your item, means they're interested but don't want to pay that price, or wait until like check with, like, I don't know, their daughter, their son, their husband, their wife, whatever. So what I do, like, if someone say favourite something for like 35, I'll offer them 32, so it's not like £3 off, like, or £3.50, whatever, 10%. And a lot of the nine times out of 10, that's what sells your stuff quickly. Like, I don't find that you know, if I listed 10 a day and solely waited for them to sell the price I list them for, you're not gonna sell a lot. You have to like drop it down. But again, at that point, so like sometimes I'll list things like, let's say the shoe's worth 40. I'm like, okay, what I'll do is I'll list for 42 and then offer 38. So I'm only taking £2 off, but it looks like it's a decent discount. They go, oh, £4 off, yeah, why not? Or I don't know, you might have a pair of like, let's say they're worth 20 quid. Whack them up for 24 and then knock off 4, and then they'll think, oh, I'm losing £4, but you're not losing anything, because you were originally gonna only get 20 for them, which you've got because you've upped them. But yeah, that is it for this video. So that is my new adventure. If you want to join the Vinted Monitor, I highly recommend, if you want to get into this. If you've got a bit of spare money, all you need, you can start with, someone in the thing start with a tenner, right? They've got a pair of shoes. Obviously, you've got a counter in delivery and thingy fee. So if the shoe's listed for a 10, you're actually paying about 13 or 14 with delivery and like buyer protection. But you start with a tenner, right? You buy a pair of shoes for £5 or £6 plus delivery. You spend £10 on a pair of shoes. You sell them for 20. Now, what you sell them for, the price you sell them for, Vinted don't take a fee. The delivery is separate. So if you list your shoes for 20, the buyer will pay 24. The £4 goes to Vinted, and the delivery fees 20 comes to you. So you buy a pair of shoes for £6 or £10 all in with the delivery. You sell it for 20. Bosh, you got 20 quid. Then you can buy 2 pairs of shoes at £9 each, whatever. then you sell both of them to you 40, and then so on, you get to 100, and you might get to 1,000. And once you've got 1,000, which is what I did, once I got to £1,000, and then was like, right, 10 a day. So every day I was spending 100, £150. And I got to the point where my bank ran out, because obviously if you're buying £150 a day, so let's say you start on a Monday, £150 on Monday, £150 Tuesday, £150 Wednesday, £450, them items on Monday might not be delivered till Thursday or Friday. So that's what I'm saying. And by the time you've listed them and sold them, it might be another week. Then you've got to wait for the buyer to receive the item or confirm the item before you get the money. So like, it is a bit of a delay. Like, something you sell on a Monday, you might not get the money until, well, something you buy on a Monday, you might not list till Friday, you might not sell till Sunday or Monday, you might not get the money till next Friday. So it's like a 2-week delay. But like, that's the thing with like scaling up, you just keep going. Do you know what I mean? So like, I'm now quite deep into it, where money's always in my business. I'm about to scale back up to 10 a day, obviously after the Adidas and Nike outlets. I'm going to go back to reselling, because I do want to try and push this Whatnot, but Whatnot's really hard because you start with a loss, and I'm not at a stage in my life financially where I could just be chucking money away. I need to build up and build up and build up. Once I've got loads of money spare, I can afford to lose £100 on a couple of Whatnot streams before I start making money. I will. But yeah, that is the end of the video, guys. If you have enjoyed it, please give it a like, please comment, please give it a subscribe. Again, if you want to get into reselling, ask me any question in the chat, ask me on TikTok, anything like that. Just ask me a question, I'll answer it for you. But if you do want to join the monitor, it's £25 a month, but £25 is literally nothing. You buy a pair of shoes for 10 quid, in literally either 1 or 2 flips, you've made that money. Like, if you do, you know what I mean, in a month, £25 a month is literally nothing for this, when you can make some insane cash. Not only do they do like Vinted monitor, where a lot of things ping through for like shoes, clothing, gadgets, everything, we also have like inside information where, like, if a Pokemon drop's about to happen, or Pokemon center queue, anything to do with Pokemon, or like if a brand new, like the other day they released some Stranger Things Nike trainers, like stuff like that, like that gets pinged through before we know about it, so we know, oh, tomorrow morning at 8 AM this is coming out, get on it, because that's where profit's made. So yeah, I don't personally own the monitor, a guy called Stim does, who I mentioned in the beginning, so make sure you go check him out. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next video, guys. Like I said, I'm going to be trying to do at least a video a week. I'll try and make the next one's more interested, and I'll show you what I'm listing and what I'm cleaning, and, you know, loads of different videos. But yeah, if you haven't enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.